Title: The Watcher in the Dark. In the small town of Cliffside Hollow, nestled between rolling hills and dense woods, a peculiar legend whispered through the streets and echoed in the minds of its inhabitants. They spoke of the Mothman, a creature said to be a harbinger of doom, with two vast wings and eyes that glistened like burning embers. It appeared just before calamities struck, and while most dismissed it as folklore, a fear lingered in the hearts of those who believed. Sophia Dawson was not one to shy away from local legends. In her junior year of high school, she decided to write a research paper about Cliffside Hollow's mysterious creature. Armed with determination, not to mention a dose of teenage bravado, she set off to uncover the truth about the Mothman. With her best friend Caleb at her side, they endeavored to explore the forest believed to be his territory. "It'll be a good adventure," Caleb said with a shrug, his dove-gray eyes sparkling with excitement. Sophia rolled her eyes, but deep down, she felt the flutter of both anticipation and anxiety. The sun dipped low in the sky as they entered the woodland, shadows stretching like fingers, attempting to grasp hold of them. The chill in the air carried an unsettling quality, muffling the sounds of chirping birds and rustling leaves. They walked deeper into the woods, guided by the fading daylight and the occasional flicker of fireflies. With every step, a sense of dread crept into Sophia's mind, an unshakable feeling that they were being watched. "Do you really think the Mothman is real?" Caleb asked, breaking the silence. "Of course not," she replied, though her voice wavered. "It's just a story." But as they trekked along the winding path, a sudden rustle erupted from the nearby bushes, causing her heart to leap into her throat. It was only a squirrel, but the weight of the forest's darkness loomed heavy around them. Hours passed, and twilight descended like a shroud. They decided to head back, but not before taking the detour to the cliff's edge, the very spot where, according to legend, the Mothman had been sighted. The breathtaking view gave way to a terrifying abyss below, where jagged rocks met the swirling waters of the river like 1,000 writhing serpents. As they inched closer to the precipice, Sophia couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. The air felt thick, and the shadows danced hungrily. She shrugged off the sensation, attributing it to her overactive imagination, but Caleb's demeanor had shifted. He stood still, staring into the darkness, his brows knitted together. "What's wrong?" she asked, gradually becoming concerned. "I don't know." He seemed entranced, eyes narrowing as he squinted into the consuming night. "It feels like someone's here." Suddenly, an echoing screech pierced the air, sending chills down their spines. The sound reverberated through the woods like an unearthly alarm. Sophia's breath quickened as the world around them fell silent, the usual nighttime sounds faltering until only their heavy breathing remained. "Let's go," Sophia urged, her voice trembling. They turned to leave when a shadow swept across them, unnatural and fluid. It loomed larger than life, dark against the spectacle of stars. In that moment, time froze, her retinas burning into memory as she caught a glimpse of it, massive wings unfurling, strong and foreboding, and eyes glowing like liquid fire. Caleb screamed, the sound echoing in tandem with the creature's call as it swooped down toward them. Adrenaline surged through Sophia, and she pulled on Caleb's arm, urging him to move, but they stood in shock, paralyzed by fear. The Mothman, no longer a mere legend, descended like a storm. It circled them swiftly before climbing into the night, watching, waiting. It was as if the beast, in all its terrible beauty, knew something they did not. "Run!" Sophia shouted, breaking free from her trance. They dashed down the trail, branches snagging at their clothes as if attempting to drag them back into the darkness. Panic gripped them, their hearts pounding in unison. The shriek erupted again, echoing ominously behind them. They sprinted through the woods, their lungs burning with exertion, until they burst into the clearing where the last rays of light flickered into nothingness. The town was just ahead. They stumbled through the streets, breathless and terrified, and as they neared the safety of the familiar environment, the Mothman rose one last time into the night, silhouetted against the moon. Months passed, but the fear never left them. Caleb could scarcely speak of that night, and Sophia chose to bury it deep within as she wrote her paper, filling it with cautionary tales rather than the raw truth of what they'd witnessed. They graduated, life moved on, but the memory lingered like a haunting shadow. It was only years later, in a sleepy convenience store, that Sophia stumbled upon an old newspaper headline. Mothman sightings reported before tragic accident. The article details echoed in her mind, reminding her of that ominous figure, the fear it inspired, and the reality that came crashing down after it was seen. Suddenly, an icy gust of wind swept through the store, and from the corner of her eye, she caught the glimmer of something out of place. The reflection of glowing eyes in the window. A chill seeped into her bones, and she froze, a dark realization washing over her. The Mothman was still watching. And in Cliffside Hollow, legends seldom faded.